Good afternoon and welcome back. We were on the topic of steelbooks, and this dude says Bloodborne does have 100% because I got it the day Bloodborne come out. It's part of the collector's edition / Nightmare edition. After he said that, I gave it a search, and he's right. The only one potential problem is look at the bloody price of them. 130 quid for this one. This one's 45 quid. Oh, actually, hang on, this might be a winner. How damaged is this? Because it goes for a decent chunk of money otherwise. I don't care about the disc. I've got like 3 Bloodborne discs. Is that a big warped dent at the top? I can't tell. You know, if I can't tell, that's a good shout. Because generally, pretty much all of these Bloodborne collector's edition steelbooks seem to cost like well over 100 quid. So for like 45 quid for a dented one, and a dent that I can't seem to actually, on these pictures anyway, see, I'm not sure I'm against that. Like, again, the disc isn't important to me. And the front of it, Some people said that Demon Souls has a steelbook, and I'm searching for that. This is a custom-made one, so that's not it. In reality, I might try and get like a custom-made Dark Souls 1 steelbook. Like, okay, yeah, like this. Problem is, these custom-made ones are always from Canada. It's such a shame. Because a custom-made one for Dark Souls 1 would be pretty cool. Because it doesn't seem to have a legit one. And it's the only one that I don't have yet. Well, nearly. Yeah, I'm not sure that Demon Souls does have a steelbook, you know. I can't find one. Like, now we're into Resident Evil and Ghost of Tsushima, so it's not looking good. My exam is in 90 minutes and I'm here watching this real exam prep. Bro, I did the same thing. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't revise for my GCSEs because I hated school. And I was like, what's revising actually going to do? I'm just going to be going over the same thing I already did. Realistically, probably should have revised. I did all right. I got 1 A, 2 Bs and 6 Cs. In fact, one of those Bs was up from a U in the mock. I just learned to gamify it. I learned exams are not about what you know, it's more about how you say it. It's like, look, you need to gamify it. Imagine in your head that the examiner has got like an objective box in front of them that they're looking to see if you ticked. And you need to tick it in a very specific way, the same way you would in a video game. If you can try and figure out what those boxes are that need ticking and just ensure through your writing in said exam that you tick said box, it's foolproof. How could you fail? You know? And that's how I managed to take my GCSE mock results from U's up to A's, B's and C's. It worked out in the end. Anyway, yeah, we had this thing when I was in school, I don't know if it's still a thing, where we were given extra time off of school to revise. And I remember we just wanted the time off school so we could play more Call of Duty. It was like you had to prove to the teachers that you were actually going to utilise that time for revision, and therefore had to like bank up an amount of hours revised in school time or after school time and have it checked off by a parent or someone to say that you could get the extra weeks off. Like, I remember, because I didn't do any revision, other people had like several weeks more than I did off of school to revise because I couldn't prove that I was going to do it and they didn't believe that I would. And to be fair, they were right. I didn't. So yeah, I remember people absolutely sweating their GCSEs like it was life or death. And to be fair, it's not a bad shout to actually, care about your education. I just didn't. I didn't like education very much. My attendance was like 70%. I had to have meetings with the education and welfare officer all the bloody time. They were constantly trying to figure out what was going on at home. And as far as I was concerned, I had a fairly normal childhood. I didn't have a normal childhood in retrospect, and I've talked about those in these videos before. But at the time, you don't have the awareness of what normal is if you've never been exposed to what everybody else has. So I just thought, yeah, everybody has parental problems. I don't know anybody with a dad, because I didn't. Every single person I knew did not have a dad. So I was like, yeah, this is normal. What do you mean? I just don't like school. Kids don't like school, sorry. I was always a bit sarcastic. I literally remember saying to someone, I was like, if I got 70% on a test, you'd have said I'd done well. So why, if I've got 70% attendance, am I doing badly? Didn't go over well, as you can imagine. CX bags do you have, or is it a bag for life? I have more CX bags than I think CX do. It's a mistake. It's an accident. Generally, I try and take one bag and take that with me when I go to CX. But what keeps happening is I get to CX and I go, forgot my bag. And then I have to get a bag. I try and get the paper bags because at least then, I don't need to store them. I have a bag of CX bags. Granted, it's been helpful for storing stuff in the loft because, they're pretty or heavy enough duty. But yeah, it's been a problem. Put this comment in your YouTube videos for no apparent reason. Love you. Well, there you go. If you want to start an argument on TikTok, here's how you do it. You mention Call of Duty in any way, shape, or form. Because something with Call of Duty is that it has now spanned enough generations of gamers that people will argue about when the prime is or was. For example, I literally remember, because for me, COD's prime was like Modern Warfare 2. But even back then, the people who were Modern Warfare 1 were like, oh, you're a kid. Oh, you're a kid. Now it's like those were really only a couple of years apart. And the reality of the situation is that they're both 15 plus years old. Even Black Ops 3 is coming up to 10 years old. And Black Ops 3 was about the point where I checked out because it was the 3D movement that wasn't for me. And there are people that are like 20 that were 10 years old when that came out. So for them, that was their childhood. There are people who are incredibly nostalgic about when Warzone came into Call of Duty because that was 5 years ago. Like, if you are 18 years old now, you're an adult. You were 13 when that Warzone began. So you were your peak teenage years. Because I was like 13 with Modern Warfare 2, the original one. So it's like, yeah, it'll be the thing you care the most about. Perspective's important. I think that the prime years of COD were Call of Duty 4 until Black Ops 2. That was the biggest, most solid block of years we ever had. The hype was the most real it ever was. I'm not even just talking about player counts, because I think player counts can get very skewed, especially these days with Game Pass and things like that. But just the hype, the internet buzz, I don't feel like it is like it was anymore. Like, Call of Duty used to be such a massive deal come November that there would be multi-hour-long queues out the door of any shop that sold games. That's gone. Someone is definitely not going to like the answer I'm about to give, but I always try and be completely transparent and honest with you guys because I think it's interesting and hopefully motivate somebody else to realise that they're able to do stuff like this themselves if they wish. So, hey Cayle, did you ever consider donating the DVDs to a charity shop instead of CEX because they'll give you next to nothing anyway? No, and here's the reason why. So, first of all, I traded in a stack of stuff the other day and I made £100 on a voucher, right? But then outside of that, I have since made nearly £400 from the videos of me going to CEX and doing that. You got to remember, a lot of stuff we do is content. It's the money that we make from said content. Going to a charity shop and donating them isn't content. And yeah, it just isn't. It wouldn't work. It's the same reason why videos of me going to CEX will always outperform videos where I've got something that's been delivered. You know? You've always got to be, as a content creator, you've always got to be thinking about how could I do whatever I'm doing right now in a way that is best going to get the views. And some people will take offense to that. And I think that people who take offense to that are not very smart. Because it's the same thing as me taking offense to you having the audacity to go to work. We've got bills to pay, we've got things to do. You know, you would do your job the best way you can possibly do it that ensures that you get paid in the best possible way, right? Logically. So for example, I did 2 videos on TikTok going to CEX, trading in my stuff. First video made me £92.05, and then the second one made £168. And remember, I also got the £100 voucher. So, yeah. And then outside of that, the first video on TikTok gained me 787 new followers. And then the second video gained me 816 new followers. That's nearly 2,000 new followers from those 2 videos, along with a few £100. Why would I not? And then I will also repost that same content over on Instagram Reels, where video 1, if it ever decides to focus, did 81.9 thousand views, and video 2 did 105,000 views. Let's have a look at the insights of those. Granted, we don't make money through this, but that one gained me 200 new follows from video 1, and hang on, 138 new followers from video 2. Social media is a game, and the people that understand how to play the game best will always succeed the most. I promise you that everyone you watch, because of the fact that you watch them, has done something to succeed, otherwise you wouldn't know who they were, right? And they are all doing things consciously, or even at some point subconsciously, because they've been doing it for long enough and are good enough at it, they don't even have to think about how to do it anymore. But they are doing things that manipulate psychology to get more views. I know full well when I make a video about how much will CX give me, that video will do well because most people will go, oh, CX won't give you any money for that. So I knew that video would do well, and it did. Whereas if I just go and take them to a charity shop, I don't gain anything from that, do I? Every single content creator is permanently thinking, if I do this in this way, I can then make it into content, and then it'll do this because people will say this or think this. It'll cause people to comment this, which will then cause other people to comment that because people can't help but do that. Social media is completely psychology. The people who succeed the most on social media are the ones who absolutely have a massive understanding of human psychology. That's all it ever is. Somebody asked me, I actually want to get asked quite frequently, is what HDMI splitter do I use to strip the HDCP from the PlayStation 3 so that it could be filmed through capture cards? I always struggle to answer that question because I can't find it on my Amazon orders. So I went on my emails and searched HDMI splitter, and apparently I've had this thing since 2016, and you can't buy it anymore. But for those that are wondering, it is this one. It is the iSolemn one. I don't think that this is enough information to actually be helpful, but it's this one. This dude says that I better do a 10-minute PC build video. This PC build that I'm about to do, well, I say about to do, it could be still weeks, months away. Yeah, it depends upon how long it takes to get the components. It's going to take hours, bro, because the PC that's behind me back there, it took me all night to build. Granted, that was my first PC I ever built, so theoretically it should be quicker this time, but like very, very scary process, or at least it was the first time. It's going to be scarier the second because the component's going to be worth a lot more money. Like, according to PC Part Picker, once my PC is completely built and I've got the stuff I want in it, if we can manage it, it's going to be like $4,000. It's going to be a crazy PC. So it's going to be a little bit scary building it. It's going to be a lot more than 10 minutes, I'll tell you that for a fact. Probably, I'll film bits and pieces of the process, but probably not the whole thing because I need to focus on, not ruining the parts of it rather than creating entertaining content. The entertaining content will come before and after the fact. This one made me laugh. I made a video about how Keanu Reeves did a thing talking about whether or not there's going to be a John Wick 5, and he said never say never. And I said, what franchise manages to get 5 entries in and still be good? John Wick has done something that most franchises can't, in that it's got 4 entries in and is still good. And I said, name other franchises that have managed to get this many entries and still been good. And this dude said Fast and Furious. Their worst film is a 9 out of 10. Really? Really? Another dude listed, I think, Alien, Child's Play, and I don't know what else. But even those are another good example. Like, I know that after the 3rd entries in both of those franchises, people consider them not as good. There are very few franchises that make it to 3 entries that are still really good, let alone 4. God forbid 5. Problem is that these days, big money media won't let things lay. Like, you announce John Wick anything, it does well. It's why the ballerina film, that I'm looking forward to, by the way, because I like Ana de Armas for reasons outside of the reasons that you probably know. As I twiddle my beard hair that I've all of a sudden started to be able to grow this month. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for that, but Keanu's in that, and it's like, yeah, I wonder why. This is one of those that is answered through the context, which TikTok. Do you collect 4K movies? No. I think that'll do for today. I think we've been through quite a bit. Considering today's been a shorter day because I woke up later, it still feels like it's been pretty long. I suppose it's because Neve's been away. Again. Subscribe. Bye.